Here's Rusty, 1992 Jeep Cherokee donor vehicle. This has 4.0 high output fuel injected, multi-port fuel injection. This has air conditioning, which I don't know what I'm going to do with. Here's the engine bay. Lots of fuses and relays in here. This is where the evap canister was, the charcoal canister, which I've already taken for the CJ. That was quite some time ago. Various hose connections sitting here that used to go to the canister. The wiring is also taken apart in that main loom because I took the windshield washer jug and the connector and the wiring back a ways. That's in the CJ. That's also why this hose is cut. Pretty near everything else is intact. I took the electric fan. Haven't installed it anywhere. I was thinking about putting it in the diesel YJ, but maybe I'll need it for this project, or maybe not. Something that I don't recall is this broken connector. I don't know where that goes yet. Looking around here, there are no obvious broken wiring harness connections. This comes up out of this big tail right there. Purple wire with white trace. Looks like it comes up right there, but if we unwrap it enough, it's still wrapped inside this loop right here, so it doesn't come out. So this is the spot where it was meant to come out. It only reaches so far. I have a map. I think it's a map sensor here. That's got a plug in it. There's a vacuum line hooked to it. I don't think it needs anything else. I don't know what else is on the back of the engine here, near the rear of the head or the intake manifold that it could go to. A temperature sensor, maybe. There could be one of those back there. I think I do see it, actually. The same location as the old CJ's temperature sensor. There's another temperature sensor on the front, right here. But there is one on the back of the head. That's probably what that goes to, actually. My hope for this video is to just capture lots of how everything was oriented, situated, located, prior to taking anything else apart, since the initial parts robbery. I have air hose here. There's a vacuum line tucked underneath it. That hose runs all the way along, all the way to what used to be the evap canister. This from the top of the valve cover into the air box. Vacuum hoses galore. There's a cracked fitting. I don't think that shows up on the camera too good. That's cracked and failing. That runs to this, I'm going to guess it's a CTO switch. This also goes over, I don't know how far it goes. It looks like it follows all the way along to the evap canister. So that must have been the control for that. Well, I assumed this was a fuel pressure. Something to do with fuel pressure. I don't know how this works, or what it does exactly, but I'm going to guess that we have fuel coming in and fuel returning, and this is a pressure regulator. I don't know how that needs vacuum from the engine, but okay. Throttle cables. There are 3 cables attached here. Throttle plate. This outside one, all the way at the end of the arm, comes back. It looks like it goes rearward to the transmission. It's just a guess. And then we have these 2. This one here, with the larger plastic connection on the outside of this arm, comes straight back across the top of the motor over to passenger side fender. Comes in this cable right here to this device, which has a worn out vacuum hose on one side and a 4-wire electrical connector on the other. Cruise control seems like a good possibility to me. That would be the cruise control module, which leaves this last one with this white plastic here, the inner core, and this snap-on connector being the throttle cable, which comes back. There's a big gentle loop, comes across and goes in through the firewall close to the brake booster. Seems like a likely place for a throttle cable to penetrate. A large air intake here to the air box. Seems pretty straightforward. We've got what would be a PCV connection, which looks like it's been adapted. I can't imagine this came from the factory with an elbow, a piece of hose stuck in another piece of hose into the air box, but who knows, maybe that's factory. This, as mentioned, goes from to the purge canister. Perhaps this is where the purge gas was drawn back into the system, or maybe not. From the rear of the valve cover we have another elbow, piece of hose. Maybe that's a PCV, maybe that's some, I don't know what that is. There's some sort of connection in there. And that hose comes into the intake manifold right there. And then next to that we have vacuum source. This must be a vacuum source. Vacuum hose goes to the map sensor. So this goes straight back, one little piece of vacuum hose to the map. This map connector has got a green plug on it, 3 wires. I'm hoping to leave a lot of this stuff intact on the motor, as few connections as possible disrupted. I'll shoot more later as this progresses. One last thing, I guess, because this seems like a good thing to get lost. Look at this big ceramic, I'm going to guess, resistor here. Towards the front of the vehicle, it's a green with what looks like a black trace. On the rear, towards the